So, I popped into High House Insurance to see if they could quote for my house insurance rather than using the internet. High House got a great deal. So to celebrate, I bought a posh hairdo. It made me look beautiful, gorgeous enough to become a highly paid model. I then won Celebrity Big Brother. I had an affair with an MP. Now I'm promoting a doll of me that says, "Cool blimey, you're well fit."
Happy things happen when you talk face-to-face with High House Insurance. See if we can beat your home insurance quote from the internet. Find us on the High Street Selsey or call 606 552.
Hello and a warm welcome to Manhood Internet Radio. I'm Tony Wiener, your host for this show. Another week gone, the days are getting shorter and it's turning cold, but we have plenty to keep you warm and interested. We will start the show as usual with a roundup of things to do in the area, and that will be followed by the welcome return of our quizmaster Kevin. We'll then go over to Keith, who reports on the problem of dog fouling. Nothing puts our Keith off his food though, and he dashes back to give us another great recipe. Okay then, as our regular reporter Alison cannot be with us, let's go over to Keith to find out what's on in the area.
Well, Alison can't be with us this week, unfortunately. She's had to rush off up to Manchester. So it's left to me to give you some idea about what's going on in and around the local area for the coming week. And we start with Wednesday the 23rd of November, and the National Blood Service will be at the Selsey Centre from 2 p.m. until 4:30, and again from 5:30 until 7:45. So get down there and give blood. Well done. Now, Friday the 25th of November, the U3A have their monthly meeting. That's also at the Selsey Centre, and that's from 2:30 p.m. And the speaker will be Philip Robinson, and he'll be talking about Churchill and the Dardanelles. Now, on Saturday the 26th of November, it's Cat and Kitten Rehoming Day at the Cat and Rabbit Rescue Centre in Cholder Lane, Siddlesham, and this is from 12 noon until 2 p.m. There's also a Christmas fair at St Wilfrid's Church Hall, and that's at Church Road. Lorries, trains, boats and planes, and this is a 3-mile stroll around the southern part of Siddlesham, discovering the local history of the area with friend of Pagham Harbour, Bill Martin. Now this starts at 10 a.m, the duration is 3 hours, it costs £5 per person, £3.50 if you're an RSPB member, and booking is essential, and to book that you need to call Bill on 01243 641 508. And also on Saturday, we have, of course, Selsey Community Christmas celebrations, and that's a turning on of the lights, and that's in the High Street from 5 p.m. until 7 p.m. And the highlight of the evening will be a lantern parade for local children, which will leave St Peter's Church at 5 p.m. and proceed to the centre of the High Street. And this will be followed by community carols and a blessing by Father Andy Wilkes. Now, on Saturday morning, which we nearly missed there, is a tabletop sale at the Selsey Methodist Church, and that's from 9:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. And if you want to book a table for that, you can do, but you have to phone on 01243 601 439. Now, on Sunday the 27th of November, there's a tabletop sale at the Selsey Centre, and sellers can set up from 8 a.m. and buyers are allowed in at 9 a.m. There's also Wild Families Christmas Arts and Crafts at the Pagham Harbour Visitor Centre, and prepare for the festive season by creating some nature-themed Christmas cards and willow stars to take home and give to your family and friends. That's a drop-in session, so it starts at 10:30 a.m. until 1 p.m, and it's £3 per child or £2 per Wildlife Explorer member. And someone to guide you. Unsure of what bird that is? Well, RSPB guides will be at the Ferry Pool Hyde in Pagham Harbour to help you spot and identify the wildlife you see. That's a free event, and that's a drop-in from 11 until 2 p.m. On Wednesday the 30th of November, Selsey Town Council have got a full council meeting. Now that starts at 7:30 p.m. at the Town Hall, and if you'd like to go down there and find out what's going on in the area, or maybe the councillors will be able to shed some light on things for you. And we go across to Bracklesham and the Witterings now. And there's a whole load of stuff going on in Bracklesham and the Witterings, and we start with Wednesday the 23rd of November. There's table tennis, and that's a drop-in session for adults only at the Bracklesham Barn, and that's 10 until 12 midday. And also at the barn, there's CBT motorcycle training from 9 until 11, gyrokinesis with Jen, and that's 11 until 12. Belly dancing with Step Inside, that's my old favourite, from 1 until 2 p.m. Zumba with Louise, and that's from 6:30 until 7:30 p.m. Now over to the British Legion, 7 till 9 p.m. is line dancing, and everybody's welcome to that. And down at the Pond Barn, it's happy hour from 5 until 8 p.m. Happy hour. That's stretching it a bit, but anyway, you can go down there and get yourself some cheap drinks from 5 until 8 p.m. Now on Thursday the 24th of November, it's Busy Bug's Toddler Gym at Brackwisham Barn, and that's from 9:15 until 12:15. And at East Wittering Village Hall, there's a Keep Fit class, and that's from 2 until 3 p.m. There's Stitch and Yarn, Wittering's Medical Centre, from 10:30 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. There's Knit and Natter, and that's at East Wittering Library, from 11 until 12:30. Wittering's Master Art Group, from 10 a.m. until 12 midday, and that's at West Wittering Memorial Hall. There's West Wittering Short Mat Bowls, and that's from 10 until 12 and 2 until 4, I believe. And that's West Wittering Memorial Hall. And if you'd like to take part in that, you can phone Chris on 07788 111 325. And in the evening, there's the Junior Youth Club at the Youth Centre, and that's from 5 until 6:30 for 8 to 12-year-olds. And then you've got the Senior Youth Club, which is from 12-year-olds to 17-year-olds at the Youth Centre, and that's 6:30 until 8:30 p.m. And down at the Pond Barn on Thursday evening, you've got karaoke, and that's from 7 until 11 p.m. Now on Friday the 25th of November, there's Short Mat Bowls at Brackwisham Barn, and that's from 2 until 4 p.m. And of course it's a Christmas light switch on, and this starts at 6:30 in Caken Road, East Wittering. And Sunday the 26th of November, it's Windrush Church Meeting at Brackwisham Barn, and that's from 10:30 a.m. until 12:45 p.m. And in the evening, at the Pond Barn, it's quiz night, so you can go down there for 8 o'clock and take part in the quiz. On Monday the 27th of November, Little Ducklin's Mother and Toddler Group is at Brackwisham Barn from 9:30 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. And there's Short Mat Bowls also at Brackwisham Barn, that's 10:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. And there's Yoga with Elaine, also at Brackwisham Barn, from 7 until 8:30 p.m. An RO or ARO Ladies Beginners Kickboxing with Verity, and that's at Brackwisham Barn also, and that's 7:30 until 8:30 p.m. And on Tuesday the 29th of November, it's Little Explorers Play and Learn Together at Brackwisham Barn from 9:30 until 11 a.m. And there's a meet and greet at West Wittering Memorial Hall. That's coffee, games, homemade soup and a roll, and that's from 10:15 a.m. until 1 p.m. And back to Brackwisham Barn, there's Yoga with Elaine, and that's from 10 until 11 a.m. And there's Tai Chi Chi at Brackwisham Barn, that's 4 p.m. with the lovely Tracy. Community Pop Choir, West Wittering Memorial Hall in the evening, that sounds like great fun. 7 until 9 p.m. There's loads of choirs around the area, and they are fantastic. If you've never sang in one, get along and give it a go, it's brilliant. And there's also at Brackwisham Barn the Badminton Club, and that's 7:30 until 9:30 p.m. And down at the Pond Barn, there's free pool, so you can go down there and have a free game. And that's about it for this coming week. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Keith, and we wish Alison's husband a speedy recovery from his recent accident. Our Quizmaster Kevin is back to challenge us again. Go on then, Kevin.
Right, hi, it's Kevin the Quiz with this week's Connections Quiz. What I've got for you, as usual, 5 general knowledge questions. What are the answers to the 5 questions, but also what is the connection between all 5 answers? And here we go then with this week's quiz. Question number 1, horse racing. What is the most southerly racecourse in Great Britain? The most southerly. Question number 2, old songs. In the song, what bird sang in Berkeley Square? Question number 3, another bird one. What bird has the Latin name Troglodytes troglodytes? That's one for the Google. Question number 4, which New Zealand psychologist and comedian was married to Billy Connolly? And question number 5, one for the kids. Which Womble shares its name with a city in New Zealand? So there you are, 5 questions, 5 answers. What connects the 5 answers?
Thank you, Kevin. Now our perennial topic in the area as we go over to Keith, who is talking to Chichester District Council's dog warden.
Now, my first guest today is Viv McGrath, and Viv is a senior dog warden for Chichester District Council, and she's been a dog warden for over 20 years, and she's one of 2 dog wardens who between them cover an area of 300 square miles. So when you're moaning about where's a dog warden when you want them, well, that'll give you some idea. They're somewhere within that 300 square miles. And I'm here today to talk to Viv about the dog fouling problems in Selsey and across the district. Good morning, Viv.
Good morning. Good morning, Keith.
Now, let's just clarify one or 2 things before we start. Is it the law to clean up after your dog's fouled?
It is the law to clean up after your dog's fouled. There's designated areas. Selsey, of course, is within a designated area. It's anywhere maintained at public expense is a guide, and then public footpaths and some areas that have been specifically designated.
Okay. I'd like to ask you another question, but I'll come back to that in a minute. How many dog waste bins are there in Selsey?
You've got loads of dog waste bins in Selsey. There's 50 dog waste bins and 40 litter bins in Selsey, and we can use both those bins to deposit bagged dog waste. So if you can't find a dog waste bin to put your dog waste in, then you can use a litter bin, or you can take your waste home and put it in your wheelie bin.
Or you can do what a good many of them do, and that's collect it up in a little polythene bag and dangle it over somebody's garden, because I've had more complaints about that than anything, and it does go on, it goes on quite regularly. But it's not something we'd encourage.
That's my pet hate. I hate seeing bags of dog waste hanging in trees, on hedges, left on the ground. There's no reason for that. It's littering.
It is, yeah, it is. And each of them represents is another irresponsible dog owner, basically.
There's lots of people in Selsey that clean up, and across the district, that clean up after their dogs. There's some really good dog owners, and the dog waste bins in Selsey are really well used. But if you have a minority of offenders, we call them, that don't clean up after their dogs, then you can get an accumulation of dog faeces very quickly in an area. And those are the people we really want to target, and we want to know who they are, and we want them to clean up after their dogs.
Now, I'm known for being quite vocal about dogs and their owners, to the point that I've probably made myself quite unpopular with many of them. But this time, it is the responsible dog owners of Selsey that are making most noise. It's them that are saying, look, it's not us, we're responsible dog owners. We're cleaning up after our dogs. It's these irresponsible ones. And they probably know much better than anybody who these people are, because they're out walking their dogs at the same time. Now, I've seen it time and time again, especially walking along the sea wall, where somebody's got an extended lead and the dog's dragging behind, and they're looking out to sea, they're wandering along, as if they don't know that the dog's actually stopped and having a poo, so just so that they can ignore it and not pick it up. And quite often, if they're spoken to about it, they become very aggressive. Now, if you're like most of the residents of Selsey, in your 60s plus, aggressive responses don't endear you to, trying to help people out and offer them a dog bag in case they haven't got one. They might have come out without it. That's usually one of the excuses. Oh, I forgot to bring a bag with me. Well, here's one. Well, no, it's too late now. They do it. You see it all the time, and people shouldn't feel threatened when they mention this sort of thing. It is antisocial behaviour. It is against the law, and unfortunately, what we don't do, maybe we can't do because we don't have enough people to do it, is to nail these people to the wall and fine them as often as they need to be fined.
I just want to pick up on the dog dragging behind and people not seeing their dog fouling. First of all, it's not an excuse at law that you didn't know your dog fouled. So if your dog's fouling somewhere and you didn't see it, you can still be given a ticket for that. It's still an offence. So keep an eye on your dog and see what it's doing. If it's fouling, clean up. If you're worried about approaching someone, you've seen someone who's a regular walker and they're letting their dogs foul, and you don't want to approach them, that's quite understandable, and I wouldn't encourage or discourage that. I think that's a personal choice for people. What you can do though is feed that information back to the dog warden. So we rely on the public input with all legislation, and especially dog fouling, because it becomes a socially acceptable thing to clean up after your dog and unacceptable to leave the dog feces there on the ground. So if you see someone not cleaning up, you can ring the dog warden or email me. I'm quite happy to receive emails, and just give me a description of the person and their dog and a time of day that they're there. So if they're a regular walker who's on the seawall at 3 o'clock every day and you see them with their Dalmatian, a description and a time is excellent. If you know where they live, then we can either A, go and give that person advice, or B, from a witness statement, we can issue fixed penalty tickets. So you can really get involved with keeping your environment and your community clean and tidy. And it is all about public involvement and making it the socially acceptable thing to clean up after your dog and unacceptable not to.
It strikes me that on Facebook, certainly locally, there have been an awful lot of comments this past week with regard to dog fouling, and it would occur to me that perhaps you're not aware of those, not because you don't look at Facebook, but because nobody actually emails you and says, look, I went along the seawall today and I counted 26 piles of poop that hadn't been cleaned up. So you're not aware of the gravity of the situation.
That's true.
To try and patrol 300 square miles for two of you, it would be understandable certainly that there are things that you're not going to be aware of, and you can only be aware of those if people notify you. If
That's
people
right.
say, look, the dog fouling in Selsey seems to have increased tremendously over the past couple of months, there may be a pattern to it, there may be a reason for it, but if people don't notify you with what you're expected to do, it strikes me as it's an impossible task for you.
It's I didn't know about the all the information that was, and the story that was going on with Facebook. Obviously I'm not part of that Facebook group, so I didn't see that until the town council notified us, and we have a good relationship with the town councils, and most parish councils in this district will feed us information. So they notified us that there was a problem. When we know that there's a problem with dog fouling or maybe a straying dog, or we will target that area more. So we will come to that area and be present much more often than we would have been. So if there is a problem area, do always feel that you could tell the dog warden. All your details will be data protected. We won't give those details to an offender. If you want to name somebody, we do need some evidence. Obviously, we don't want people assuming someone's not cleaning up just because they're walking a dog. So we would want some evidence that they're not cleaning up after their dog. So you see them regularly, this is a regular walker, and you have seen them not cleaning up, rather than, I think Mr. Smith isn't cleaning up because I see him with a dog and he passes my house. We want a bit more substantial information than that. But always feel that you can ring the dog warden. That's what we're here for.
Well, I noticed, getting back to Facebook, an article on Facebook yesterday that says, and it's from CDC, and it said dog patrol wardens will be stepped up in Selsey following increasing concerns from residents over dog fouling. This is what Chichester District Council has confirmed after members of the public spoke out about the disgusting issue. One Selsey resident, Jessica Heatley, said, I have 4 dogs, I rarely walk them in Selsey because places like the seafront, you bend down to pick up your dog's mess and you're surrounded by other people's dog's mess. This really irritates me, especially in areas that children play and paths going up to Sill Primary School are covered in it. So it appears that the council are going to take it on. Quite how they're going to step it up if there's only 2 of you, I have no idea, but maybe you're privy to information that we don't have.
We'll come down and give Selsey extra patrols when we can, and we'll make sure that happens. The dog wardens have a lot of other duties, so that we're dealing with stray dogs, the rehoming of unclaimed stray dogs, which can sometimes be quite time consuming. We deal with animal welfare, so the welfare of dogs, noise nuisance, smell and accumulation of feces in areas, even private property, and dangerous dogs. So we, and all sort of antisocial behaviour with dogs, a whole range of interesting situations that we are involved with.
Now this post on from CDC on Facebook is the spokesperson from Chichester District Council said, as a result of recent concerns from the public, dog warden patrols will be stepped up in the Selsey area. There are currently 50 dog waste bins in Selsey, many of which are located at access points to the beach, and the level of dog bin provision in Selsey is much greater than anywhere else in the district because we recognise the popularity of dog walking on the beach. Bagged dog waste can also be placed in domestic wheelie bins, well, we covered that earlier on. But there was one person that wrote in and said there are not enough waste bins, dog waste bins in Selsey. Well, that makes 90 in my book. I mean,
I carry a pod with me, which you can get online, and I believe that dog walkers should provide themselves with the sufficient equipment to walk their dog. So when they go out with their dog, they need to provide themselves with a lead, dog waste bags, their dog should be wearing a collar and tag, and I carry a pod. So when I'm walking across Hill and Dale, I don't need a dog waste bin. I pick up my bagged waste and I put it in the pod and I carry that with me until I get home, actually. So I don't come across a dog bin and I carry it with me until I get home. And that's what dog walkers should be looking at. They should be looking at what they can provide themselves with to carry their waste until they reach a bin.
Absolutely. But if you're not the kind of person, and I'm not the kind of person who would pick up dog waste, I've got to tell you, that's why I don't have a dog. You know, I don't have a horse either. And the reason I don't have a horse, because I haven't got room to keep it. Right? I wouldn't expect to take my horse along the beach and let it have a poo on the thing. So why should people be allowed to do it with their dogs? If you've got a dog, why can't you let that dog do his business in your own garden? Well, you don't, because you don't want it not in my garden. All that smell and awful stuff. My grandchildren coming up here playing on the lawn, get it all over their hands. I'd take it down the road there, let it do it down there. I do clean up after it. No, you pick up what's there. What if your dog has diarrhoea, like one did outside my house 3 days ago? What if your dog has got a touch of the trots and you can't clean it up? What about the residue left behind, even when you've picked it up? Now, I contest that the council, Chichester District Council, Sussex County Council, whatever, I contest that they have a duty of care to the people that are using these public places to stop dogs using them, because you're readily putting people at risk. You're saying you can come on and play and bring your children onto these public spaces and play, but you're likely to catch toxicorosis or whatever it's called.
Well, I know that people can feel very anti dog walkers, but I just want to emphasise that the dog walkers in Selsey are lovely people. They're law-abiding citizens. There's only a minority of people that are walking regularly, not cleaning up, because the dog waste bins are really well used. And I don't want us to feel disenchanted with the dog owners and the dog walkers. I'm one myself, and I think that the majority of people are law-abiding citizens, but it's the minority, and it's up to us as law-abiding dog walkers to inform the council who are the minority, who are they, and can the dog warden help to identify them? Yes, because we're patrolling all the time, and when we come across incidents where someone's committed an offence, we deal with it at the time. But we do need help from the public, so we need to know information, which people aren't cleaning up after their dogs, and then we can take it from there. That's what we're here for. The dog wardens are here to help.
But surely what we need to do is to prevent dogs from using these open spaces and designate a particular open space that dog walkers can take their dogs to and walk them. That way, if you see a dog on a place that's designated for no dogs, you know straight away that person is committing an offence, and it's easily identifiable and they can be fined on the spot. If they take it to an area that's designated for dog walking, then that solves the problem.
There are
You wouldn't take your children to play in an area that's designated for dog walking. So you've separated the two problems, and you've reduced your negligence, as far as I'm concerned, with your duty of care to where you're allowing people to enter premises owned by the council and maintained by the council and putting them at risk, which you are, not you personally, of course. The council is putting people at risk by allowing dogs in areas where children play. If my grandchild was to be down here and playing and was to end up suffering from toxocariasis, I would sue the council with every penny that I've got in the bank to prove that they had neglected their duty of care.
There are lots of areas where there are dog restrictions in Chichester District, and there is a review going on the dog legislation at the moment, because there's new legislation that's come into place. So there will be a review going on dog legislation, and I don't want dog walkers to be afraid that they're all going to be restricted now where they can access, because there are so many health benefits to taking exercise with your dog, and that's how people do it. So there's the health benefits as well. Most children's play areas that are fenced in this district have a restriction where dogs aren't allowed in those play areas. So that should already be in place. If it's not in place, it's something that will come into that review that's happening now and will be happening over the next sort of 6 months. But I don't want people to forget there's health benefits to walking their dog. I don't want people to be afraid of walking their dog. They should be walking daily with their dog if they own a dog. Just be responsible. Make sure you're cleaning up after your dog so you're not having a negative impact on your local community. And I think that we can all live in harmony. There's so many dog walkers.
Would it not be true to say that walking without a dog is just as beneficial as walking with one?
It is, but if you've got a dog, then it's really enjoyable. It's a social activity. Dog walkers love it. They get together, they're out there with their dogs walking.
These are the responsible dog walkers, but and I bump into an awful lot of them along the beach, seawall, and they're lovely people. And the dogs in the main are very friendly, and I'm not a doggy person, and dogs sense that they've got you if you're frightened of them. But I'm not a doggy person, but in the main, they're lovely little animals, the dogs that they've got. But there's not the fact that even if they clear up after their dogs, there's residue left behind that can be dangerous or injurious to health. The residue that's left behind can still contain the eggs, the roundworm eggs, or Toxocara canis as it's known, can still contain the eggs from that, which can then be... Now, we're not talking about something here that's inconsequential and you're going to get a cold for a week. We're talking about something that can lead to blindness. In the extreme, can lead to blindness, even death in the absolute extreme.
When... dog feces can carry germs and disease, as we know. So toxocariasis is one of those. It's extremely rare, and it's extremely rare because most people keep their dogs regularly wormed and in good health condition, and that will nullify eggs in the dog feces. So the worms in the dog stomach lay eggs which come out in the dog feces, and then that is the problem. If you pick up the feces, you've nullified the issue, I believe. If I'm wrong, then I think that's for it's for someone who's of a more scientific nature to answer than the dog warden. Clean up after your dog, because it does make a difference to clean it up. Keep your dog healthy, keep it wormed. There's other aspects to dog feces which can cause issues, like bacteria, which can cause food poisoning type symptoms. Obviously it's antisocial, people hate treading in it, and it can carry germs. So those are the reasons to clean up. I don't want people to think, well, there's a residue there, so it hasn't made any difference me cleaning up. Clean it up. It has made a difference. It will keep our environment much healthier, and you're being responsible. So bag it and bin it.
Yes, well, I'll certainly go along with that, but whether that will solve the problem or not. I mean, the reason that there are dog fouling laws is because the government accepts that dog fouling is dangerous.
That's right.
That's why they brought in dog fouling laws. It's unhygienic and it's a health hazard. That's why the laws were brought in. So if those laws have been brought in, I'll go back to my previous point, where I say that CDC, and not only CDC, councils all over the country, of course, are neglecting their duty of care to the people that use the public places that are open to them. The council says, come in. No sign up saying beware of dog faeces. Not one single sign anywhere that says beware of dog faeces. Dog faeces can cause toxicara canis or whatever it's called. Not a single sign anywhere. So the council is now neglecting its duty to the people that it's allowing to use these public places.
I think that's.
I mean, I know it's unfair.
That's I know that's
because you're not in the position
a
to answer.
statement and a question that needs to be put to a higher authority than me. So I'm just here to encourage people to clean up after their dogs, and
very good, very good,
and to make sure that we don't get too despondent about dog walkers, because they're lovely people, and most of the people clean up after their dogs. Most people are law-abiding, lovely people, and it's a minority that we need to educate, and I believe education is a key. We need to explain to people why they should be cleaning up and educate them, and then they will clean up after their dogs. Sometimes it just needs an explanation. With regards to the signs, there are signs, the small signs on lampposts. Very difficult to sign an entire district about cleaning up after your dog, and really, if you own a dog, become aware of where you should be cleaning up. Don't rely on signs. Get the information, ring us, we can provide you with that information, and make sure you're cleaning up anyway, and then you're way on the way to keeping within the bounds of the legislation.
Now, I understand that, obviously you don't have enough staff to go around and catch everybody. That would be ridiculous. But I do believe that Arran District Council are thinking along the lines of actually putting out to a third party, much as companies have done for other things, parking, etc., etc. And there are companies now that will take on dog wardening, as it were, and instigate the fines and fine people for letting their dogs foul. And these are companies, so this costs the council an awful lot of money, and I would think the best way of doing it would be to find a way that doesn't cost the council so much money and is more effective. So I think the council personally should need to have a look at that as well.
There are lots of ideas in the pipeline. As I said, there's going to be a change in the legislation that we use, and they're reviewing all the dog legislation at the moment. And there's lots of ideas and projects that the dog wardens get involved with. There's projects all the time with the schools that the dog wardens get involved with, and in communities. And I will say, if anybody wants to set up a residence group that is based on dogs, so dog residence group, we can help them with information. We could provide them with leaflets, dog bags that they can give out to people if they want to. We could help them, we could come and do talks for them, interesting talks. So if anybody wants to set up a residence group and they want me to come and give a talk to them, then please feel free to call.
Well, I'm sure people will want to contact you, and in order to do that, of course, they're going to need some contact details. So how can they get hold of you?
So they can ring Chichester District Council on 01243 785 166, which is basically the council's main phone number. You get through to the girls in reception, who are lovely, girls and guys in reception, and they'll put you through to the dog warden. Or you can email me if you want to ring that number. Find out my email address. It's vmcgrath@chichester.gov.uk. I won't spell it for you, but if you ring the council generic phone number, they'll give you my email and you can email me.
Well, thanks for that, Viv, and thanks for coming in and putting up my ranting.
That's okay, I've enjoyed it.
But I'm sure we've clarified a few points for people. People seem to believe that if they don't see their dog doing it, it's not happened and they're not guilty. We've clarified that one, certainly. Maybe somebody at the council will listen to this and get straight onto your legal beagles and see how they feel actually about their dereliction of duty or duty of care to people using these public places, and whether there should actually be signs up saying, beware of feces, dog feces, this area contains dog feces, much as they do with, they're quick to put up signs that says, make sure you lock your car as people have pinch all your gear. It's a danger. The council's got to accept responsibility for it. Whether they do that through increasing the amount of dog wardens we've got, two people for 300 square miles, borders on the absolute ridiculous in my book. But I don't expect you to comment on that, of course.
It's a national problem, I think, dog fouling. All districts have this issue with the dog fouling, and it's a topic of conversation, and people are very passionate about it. And I think people really need to get involved in their communities.
Just one question that I would like to ask. When was the last time somebody was fined for dog fouling in Chichester, under the Chichester District Council?
My colleague John was the last person this year to give out a fixed penalty ticket, and I can't tell you that date without asking him, and he's not here with me, or checking his pocket.
Recently,
yes,
recently.
Yes. So if we come across something, then we will deal with it ourselves, or if someone gives us a statement, which was the last fixed penalty ticket that was given out was through a witness statement, then that can happen.
Okay.
We can give out a fixed penalty ticket.
So people can rest assured that they can get hold of the dog warden and say, look, I've just seen this chap, he's down there every day, and his dog does it every day, and nobody does anything about it. Well, nobody does anything about it because nobody knows anything about it.
Yeah, definitely ring us.
So if they contact you, that's a start at least, and they needn't worry about their information, the details being given out.
It's all data protected.
So that's fine as far as that goes. So let's hope we're on a road to a cleaner Selsey.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, I certainly
That'd be
hope
lovely.
so, because something has just occurred to me. I wonder how these irresponsible dog owners feel about fly tippers.
It's
Because I know litter's a pet hate of yours.
I hate
but
litter.
How does these
Yes.
irresponsible dog owners feel about fly tippers?
I don't know. I mean, it'd be lovely if people just had a thought. Their dog's fouled, they clean up. I just want to clarify one thing as well when I'm here. When your dog fouls on the beach, on the foreshore, on the stones, that still is an area where you should be cleaning up. It's not sufficient that you're thinking the sea's going to take that away for you, because then it's in the sea and it's actually a pollutant in the water. So we want people to clean up on the beach as well. So bear in mind that when your dog fouls, it's not just on pavements, parks and in residential areas. You're talking about the beach as well.
I believe actually that the last test done on the seawater at Selsey was found to contain higher pollutants from dog faeces than other areas, shall we say.
I think Selsey is an area where that may be looked at in the future to help keep the water clean. I don't think that's due to Selsey residents themselves. Across the coast, obviously the tide moves along, and we just need to encourage people to clean up on the beach as well, because it's not sufficient to think that the tide's going to take it out. They need to remove it.
That's what people do. They just assume that the sea will be up and fetch it and take it away.
Yeah, that's not good.
And that's all right.
People are swimming in that sea.
They're not actually doing it thinking, well, I don't care, I'm going to let my dog do it here. They think that, if it's washed out to sea, hold on, all the sewage goes out to sea, why should I worry about my bit of dog poo? Like all the sewage that goes out to sea and all the other rubbish that goes out to sea, it all adds up.
Yeah, it's something that we need to do. We need to be more responsible about how we interact with our environment. That's the answer.
Absolutely. Well, thanks once again for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And chatting to us and reassuring the people of Selsey that their problem is not going unnoticed, but they need to do something to help themselves.
Hopefully, yes. We can all help each other. We're here to help the residents of Selsey and across the district.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Viv. And now Keith carefully walks back to his kitchen for another great recipe.
Right, well, now that the colder weather seems to be upon us, I think we could do with some warming meals. And this is certainly one of those. This is slow-cooked curried lamb with red lentils. Now, this will serve up to 6 people, depending on your appetites, of course. It'll take about 15 minutes to prepare, and it'll take about 2.5 hours to cook. And this is what we need. 4 lamb leg steaks cut into 3 centimetre chunks, 3 onions peeled and sliced, 2 tablespoonfuls of sunflower oil, 4 big garlic cloves sliced, 40 grams of fresh ginger grated, 4 fresh chilies de-seeded and sliced, 40 grams of tikka curry spice, 150 grams of red lentils, 4 large tomatoes roughly chopped, 15 grams of fresh chopped coriander, and 400 millilitres of water. And this is what we do. Place the lamb steaks into a bowl with 10 grams of the tikka curry spice and mix it well. Now, put 1 tablespoonful of the sunflower oil into a casserole dish and gently cook the onions in this over a medium to low heat until they soften. Add the garlic, chili, ginger and remaining 30 grams of tikka curry spice and then cook for a further 5 minutes on a low heat. Now, add the chopped tomatoes, the lentils, the water and season with 1 teaspoonful of salt and a good grind of black pepper and bring it to a simmer. Meanwhile, heat a tablespoonful of sunflower oil in a frying pan and seal the lamb all over. Now transfer that to the casserole dish with the rest of the ingredients in and give everything a good stir and leave on a low heat with a lid on and leave that to simmer for about 2 to 2.5 hours, stirring ever so often until the lamb's really tender. Now just before serving, stir in the coriander and add a little more seasoning if you require it. Nice and simple, nice easy dish to do, and you can serve that with nice fluffy rice, or my personal favourite is I prefer chapatis to eat curry with. But anyway, that's a matter of taste. Lovely warming dish for this time of the year.
Thanks, Keith. That should keep us warm and wraps up all our contributions this week. So it just remains for me to thank all our contributors, including Local Life magazine, our sound editor John Mallett, our presenters Kevin and Keith, not forgetting, of course, our producer John Fletcher. So it's goodbye from me, Tony Weiner. Until next time, bye.